And what's going on today is Monday, May 11th of 2020. HEXMike here, and today we are going to be talking about the latest update. So guys, I'm starting to finally get this HEXMax. I'm seeing a big difference, and I'll go over in a second as to how much hex I earned. It hasn't been quite 48 hours yet, but I figured you guys will get the point. As to how much hex I've learned. And I also will tell you what makes HEXMax really cool. And that has to do with liquidity, which is kind of a big deal when you think about liquidity, right? Because you can make more, but the added perk of HEXMax is liquidity. But I'll get into that in a second. Guys, I do want to apologize up front. You may hear some background noise. I'm actually sitting on my couch. My girlfriend is in my office, so unfortunately I don't have the luxury of having a quieter space, but don't worry, nonetheless, we're just going to go off the whim here, have some fun. And then the last topic, okay, so what we're going to do is go over my vault area. I'm actually going to roll these dividends and then stake it again. And also, guys, I want to thank the HEXMax community just for really helping me out here. I am watching the tutorials. I am learning as much. It's a lot to take in. And I think you guys may or may not agree that, there is a lot of information here, right? Because there needs to be a base knowledge with Hex first. And then on top of that, you need to understand where HEXMax comes into the mix, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I've had experience with proof of weak hands, P3D, and so I'm just trying to use the knowledge that I've acquired participating in that ecosystem with this HEXMax and just trying to see the similarities, but meanwhile I'm making sure that Hex in it of itself is a solid project. So there's a lot of variables involved. But no worries. And then the last topic we will quickly discuss is, have you guys actually read Richard Hart's book? It's funny. I don't know which page. I'm probably, I'd say, halfway through, and it's free, by the way. Guys, if you have time and you want to sit down with Richard Hart, probably, I would imagine, I don't know when this was published, I would imagine a few years ago. 2018. I don't know if that's when it was actually published, but nonetheless, long time ago. If you want to sit down with Richard Hart, but he doesn't want to sit down with you, this book may be worth a read. And I'll tell you why. Because the cool thing about books is that you get somebody's honest thoughts. Not just honest, but also they take the time to write down a complete thought. Imagine sitting down with Richard Hart or whoever, really, an idol. Let's use anybody. Let's actually use somebody who's passed away, Steve Jobs, right? Let's say you wanted to learn more about Steve Jobs, but you wanted to have an organized thought. You wanted him to have an organized thought as to what can he convey that might be valuable. So you're getting advice from Steve Jobs. It's pretty cool to be able to sit down, read a book, and to get an honest blueprint as to what this person's thinking, and they've thought about it before writing it, and then they polished it as well. So anyways, highly recommend reading it, especially because Hex is such a new project, so it's kind of good to know, what, I don't know about you guys, but what is Richard Hart actually thinking, and what has he been thinking? And to sum it up, and not to give out spoiler alerts, I would just sum up that Richard Hart is a deep thinker. He has a lot of valuable insight. I would imagine if one actually had the opportunity to get to know him, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot that he's thinking about. In a way, it's almost like modern day philosophy. That's how I'm interpreting it. And to take what I'm learning through his writing and then trying to make the connection with Hex. And so that way, at least nobody knows if this project will gain any adoption, but at least there's an opportunity to see what's the thought, what's the logic behind it. And guys, I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, so don't worry. It's not like I'm gonna continue to beat a dead horse. But for example, let me take one passage out from his book. All right, and I'm reading it word for word. So the heading is capture the prerequisites for bigger and better understanding. The ability for someone to understand a great idea, unfortunately, is tied to the ability to have created the idea on their own. Similar to the way that burgers can't get much better because we're limited by our taste buds, it's the same reason that you can share something amazing with them, but they don't have the tools to understand why they should be amazed. So, personally, I thought that was a pretty cool passage. And then the other passage that I really liked, let's see here. Human intellect has not changed. Knowledge transfer has just increased in quality. It sucks when you read reports and documents from 100 or 1,000 years ago, and you could believe they were written today. The people of the time had such sharp minds and such thinking abilities that it's a tragedy they didn't have access to the same tools and resources we have today. If the biologists are right, the capacity of the human mind hasn't really increased very much at all in the couple of thousand years since English and cities have existed. It's quite a wonder to believe that what separates us from them isn't that we are better people, but that we have stored so much energy and knowledge passed down from generation to generation that the lives we live today are massively better than the lives they lived. And it's not because we are smarter. So, to also add to that, not only is there knowledge passed down from generation to generation, but we also have the added benefit to transfer value, whether through the internet, through information through the internet, or transfer of value through crypto. So anyways, I thought that was pretty cool. All right, guys, without further ado, let's roll this. Let's roll the dice and see if I can successfully roll it and then stake it. Guys, once again, really appreciate your help with this. I'm a slow learner, but I'm starting to get it. Let's see if and I must admit that the interest, the rewards on HEXMax are pretty insane. Not to mention it's liquid. Oh, and that was the other thing while we're waiting for this. Guys, the reason why it's still early with HEXMax, but I'm so excited about it is because it provides some more liquidity, right? Everyone's focused on the rewards, and that's exciting. But I'm even excited at the fact that I can actually withdraw these rewards if I wanted to. Now, I'm not in the short term, but it provides the liquidity, whereas the regular contract to stake to doesn't provide that liquidity. So you're kind of forced in a situation to have to wait for that stake to expire. So, anyways, I just thought that was an interesting observation. All right, so let's now stake this. So we have unstaked Hex. We're going to bring it down. Guys, also, I'm going to keep this experiment ending on August 17th. So that's in roughly 98 days. So whenever I stake anything new, I'm going to just have the mindset of let's compare apples to apples. We're going to take any idle asset, in this case, the unstaked Hex 4, and the rewards, and we're going to reinvest back into this. And by that 100 days total duration, we're going to see what happens. All right, and let's stake it. Stake it till you make it, as they say. Wow, okay. So gas is kind of expensive. So let's not say we did. I wonder why. That's annoying when that happens. There it is. It's still kind of expensive though. Yeah, all right, just for the sake. And also future videos, I'm not always going to be, I mean, unless you guys want me, comment down below if you want me to keep showing you this. It might be kind of boring just to look at the progress. So I'll definitely bring up different topics every now and then and to discuss it. All right, so now we're waiting for that. So guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment down below how your progress has been going. So far, we've gotten a lot of good feedback. Everyone's got their own strategy. It's pretty cool. So this is definitely fun experiment just to see what happens. But I will say so far my favorite is, well, not only am I earning more as of now through HEXMax, but also I love that liquidity. And I think a lot of people undervalue the power of liquidity. And so something to think about. All right, I think we've got it staked. So cool. So it should end at the same time, I would hope. But that's pending. So I think this is going to be my strategy in the short term. Also, for the sake of this experiment, just kind of keep everything within that 100-day duration. And then at the end, we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Well, listen, you have a great day. And we will talk soon. Take care.